Good morning, friends, my respected teachers, my colleagues, and especially the future generation of the profession. My lecture today is on the problems and prospects of the new gen vets in veterinary practice. Veterinary practice is a system. What's a system? System is a combination of various elements which are interacting and interdependent. Veterinary practice system has got three elements: the client, the patient, and the veterinarian. They have got sub-elements like the family of the client, the group from which the animal comes, the veterinarian staff, and his family. Veterinary practice involves, it's a professional practice and it involves service delivery first. It's service delivery on animal health, production, technology, and community development. They have also the duty to deliver animal welfare, veterinary public health, and disaster management. There is also an element of knowledge delivery, that is, advise, educate, and motivate owners for caring and breeding of animals and upkeep of the animals. Veterinarians deal with all animals: domestic animals, pet animals, companion animals, wild animals, captive animals, and even lab animals. Now for the objectives of veterinary education. Normal objective of education is to enable or enhance a person's attitude, skill, and knowledge. You cut it short and call it ASK: attitude, skill, and knowledge. So far as professional education or veterinary education is concerned, his competence expected, or the level of competence expected, is number one, he should work as a leader of a team doing all the jobs we have already mentioned. He should have competence, confidence, and communicative skill. The second objective is his ability to advise, educate, and motivate animal owners on hygiene, housing, feeding, breeding, and protection of animals from the DDHH, that is disease, deficiency, hazard, and disaster and death. To help, the third objective is to help and produce or perform at right time, harvest without waste, handle safely, and market promptly. And the fourth and the most important objective is personal: to develop a personal character with integrity, responsibility, and dependability. Above all, he must have concern and respect for animals, the clients, his team members, and colleagues. Now we talk about the present scenario. When we are talking about the future, we must know what is exactly happening today. Most veterinarians are employed in government jobs. More than 60,000 registered veterinary practitioners are at grassroots. They perform all the multifarious duties we have already listed. Unfortunately, there is no specialty support at primary level. At the same time, institutions which hold less than 10% of the registered veterinary practitioners, they do advanced scientific research and develop new skills and techniques which are acknowledged globally. We could call it gold standard. But the fruits of the findings largely remain underused. Now, when we talk about future, we have to know what has changed in the past 20-25 years. First, I am going to discuss about the social changes. Social changes means lifestyle changes. Lifestyle changes have improved or increased the desire of man or the community. The young, especially males and the able-bodied, migrate seeking more earning opportunities in urban areas. They do migrate, some of them even emigrate. They are leaving behind the female folk, the old, and the children, who feel isolated, insecure, and remain in low motivation. The social changes do affect the migrant also, or the immigrant also. He is leaving the family system to go into either an individual house or a flat. Poor among them migrate into slums around factories or colonies called JJ colonies or whatever you call it. The scheduled life, the mental segregation deepen in them. They feel like isolated inside a crowd because they are in an unfamiliar environment. This leads to depression. Some of them find relaxation and engage themselves in pigeon rearing and pigeon race, or engage birds for using as cockfight. Some of them resort to drink, even drugs. Then they are open to crime and even suicide. Let us discuss the impact of this urbanization on natural resources. In 1990s, some world bodies have predicted that in Asia, the urban population by 2020 will rise from the present 30% to 41% or more. It has come real, and today it is 2020. We have some states having an urban population like Maharashtra having a population of more than 51%. Urban population lead to pressure on land, water and energy. It has increased demand for variety, quality and quantity. There is also a compromise on safety, cost and quality. It has also led to abuse and wastage of natural resources. On the progress of the past in science with the time. Science and technology evolved excellent methods, and as we have already discussed, we have evolved skills and achieved new heights which are appreciated globally. General information and knowledge spread now reach public through IT and ICT. This makes our clients more informed and of course more demanding. But the professional veterinary service remains almost stagnant because the fruits of research need reach the grassroots level and solve the problems of the smallholders who are living in the back of beyond. Now let us talk about the remedial measures, the possible remedial measures. Specialization need be introduced in animal husbandry and veterinary service. For that, institutions will have to be prepared on an HRD policy. The frontline areas of training or education are four. Number one, the first veterinary education, that is BVSC and AH. Then centers who train or render specialist service that are providing hands-on training along with a degree or diploma. The third one is centers which pursue higher education and research. The fourth and the most important one are the centers who train cadres of professional administrators who can manage through role identification and linkage. Manage, in the shortest definition of manage, is to achieve in spite of difficulties, including financial ones. So the administrators will have to be trained to achieve things by organizing and optimizing the service delivery system. Now let us discuss the possible actions for future. It can be at various levels. To begin with, it can be a reach out. That means you are reaching to the farmer's doorstep on demand on whenever a call comes. This involves time, expenditure and the expertise of a person or persons or a group going to deliver the specialist service. Next can be organizing clinical camps or infertility camps like things, so that all the problem cases can be brought to a central place. A team can go there, deliver the specialist service and come back. For that, one thing has to be kept in mind: the location and allocation of that area where the camp is organized has to be regular. The third option is to make these things on a schedule. That means you can say once a week or once in a fortnight, organizing a camp where all these people can come and take service. It can also be supported by a group which supplies medicines which are needed for the veterinary center, the expertise to be given to that center, and the maintenance that is needed for the center, and come back with the samples that the center provides for examination. The results can be sent back to them through the modern methods of WhatsApp or Wi-Fi system. Another improvement on this is, or an alternative rather than this, is to shift the sick animal to the center, specialist center. This will need time, but this can also be streamlined in a way that once you know that more than one cases are there or in a route, you can route that cases and pick them up on the way and bring more than one animal, transport one animal. Also, you can do one thing: after the treatment, if the animal is to be returned, it can be coordinated with the collection or with the transport of animals from the center. So animal can be delivered back to the doorstep of the farmer, and more animals can be picked up once it becomes streamlined and organized. The next thing is to manage all these things through a work hierarchy. The next possible method, and it is the next step that is possible, is to turn these specialist centers into centers of learning or hands-on training. A further improvement can be made by combining the reach out and support system and animal transport system together. One can do the supply of medicines, advise the farmer, do the repair of equipments, and bring the samples, and also carry animals back to the center. So special purpose vehicles are available these days, and if we can see the next two slides, various types of equipments can also be seen. They are in smaller and larger size. Anyone can be chosen appropriately. With all things said and done, we are now facing an unprecedented pandemic called COVID. This has rendered us crippled, but also has given us some lessons. Let us see what is there to learn from that. First thing to learn is that travel and import of materials have triggered the community spread, like the wet market, the tours, the pilgrimages, the immigration and migration had been mainly responsible for the community spread of COVID. Second thing that we learn is that we can restrict our actions to the need, and desires can wait. So desires can be curbed. The next thing that we have learned is that pet and companion animals could provide some relief to the loneliness and stress when we are restricted in quarantines. One more thing that we learn is that if we organize our production in such a way to get inputs from within 5 kilometers and sell out your products within that 5 kilometers into the markets available there. So you will not need to travel to get material or to sell your material. Housewives are using WhatsApp or YouTube to lessen their boredom. This opportunity can be used to train them or give them methods, reverting back to the traditional methods of preservation of food material without residues, like pickling and all those things which do not have the residues contained in that. There are more opportunities and advantages from COVID. First thing is the awareness about the wearing of masks, scrubbing, hand wash, cleaning. They can be used to motivate the team members and the public to seek their support for cleanly handling of animals. These things are the things which we used to teach first years, the early surgery students, the wearing of the mask, scrubbing and all. When this becomes common knowledge, our actions will be more appreciated. Second is education, that is advise, educate and motivate, used for COVID control, can be adopted to motivate the community and clients and the team for better animal husbandry and veterinary service delivery. The same methods can be adopted, or the knowledge already spread can be better or diverted and multiplied for use towards veterinary profession. Next is to educate and lobby administration and public men to get support for our new HRD and specialist cadre system. The last one is Vets with training in public health and animal product technology can also spread the message of hygiene and clean handling because they are already trained in HACCP control. That means hazard analysis and critical control point system. The same critical control point system identification is used for COVID control and prevention of community spread. Before I conclude, I must tell you my memories with the legend of the profession, Dr. C.M. Singh. It is his ideas that have transmitted through this lecture to all of you. He was a dreamer. He had a vision about profession, and the best that we follow is good. I must also thank the earnest efforts and help provided by Dr. Gajraj Singh, Dr. Jeet Singh, and of course the memories of the past provided by Dr. P. N. Bhatt. Thank you all.